Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We have a lot of people that use Property Pipeline, but a lot of people actually say to us that I need to use it more. And, they want us to kind of keep accountable. It's almost like a little bit of hand holding in a sense. And it's so easy when you're not in good habits to kind of forget to log in and create these habits within a new system when you're so used to maybe doing it the old way or the way you used to do it. But we're trying to transition into better practices, save you time, save you money, speed up buying processes, finding properties, all of that juicy stuff. So that's what we're here to do. It's going to be a 45-minute kind of I call it a power hour. I know it's not an hour. We didn't want it to feel massively long. We wanted to keep it short and sweet. We wanted to keep it high energy. We want to share each week something new, or just a little part of each of the system and other tips and sharing things that we use in our day-to-day that helps us, that can definitely help you too. And then after we do that, we're open to questions. Anyone that has questions or like specific things, maybe it's the calculator or anything like that, we can kind of help with. But for those that literally just want to log on, you can mute us if you want until the very end. We can wave at you when we're done, but you can mute and actually start doing some of the admin stuff that you might not have been able to do during the day. You might have been running around and all that kind of stuff. So keeping you accountable, but it's also a place to come to be able to kind of get your kind of focus on and do the last bits of admin and keep up to date on a weekly basis. So if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if I can flick the presentation or whether it's you, Nick. Perfect. So most of you do know us, but for those that don't know us, just a little intro. Me and Nick's been property investors now since 2018. So we first got the offer accepted at the end of 2018. We took us from the February to the September, basically. No, February to the December. Got the keys in February 2019, and that was kind of then snowballed from there. So everything at the bottom you can see is our portfolio. We ended up creating Property Pipeline, the CRM, to basically support my needs at the beginning. Nick's background's IT. So we were using this from pretty much day dot. He was creating it as we were kind of needing it. And then we ended up sharing it with you guys. So we've been around some time now, since 2020. We live and we invest in Sheffield. We source as well in Sheffield for our clients. We've done lots of strategies. So anything that might be new to you or you might have trouble with, maybe we can help. And we both now work full-time in property. That's what we mainly do, and mainly growing our portfolio. Next slide, please. It's weird not on the controls. So, new year, new us. I know it's been said a lot, but we don't want to kind of start strong and then fizzle out. We know everybody kind of does that whole get in the gym and then it kind of fizzles out by March. We want to keep this going throughout the year, and we want to do it weekly so that we can keep accountable for our goals. We can do like Q1, Q2 end goals as well, but we really want to keep you guys accountable, and it helps us too. We love it. We do it anyway for ourselves, so why not you join us and build this fab community? Oh, Nick, I can see that.
Yeah. That's me. I'm just getting some stuff ready for notes.
Okay. So do you have your goals? I'd like to think, sometimes Jan can be a bit of a slow start. Some people think that from day dot, you've got to be go, 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 but it's still quite dark. It's a bit hibernating. We're easing out of like quite high impact social lives. So, we don't want to be too hard on ourselves, but have you had a play around with what you want to achieve this year? Hopefully you have. And if not, then this is definitely the right time to start making some notes about what you want to achieve. And then we're going to break them down into manageable chunks, and we'll help you as well on a weekly basis do that. So what are your goals for 2025? That will be something we'll be asking you all a little bit later. Have you written them down, and how will you measure them? And what's going to be exciting today is that Nick's going to be sharing with you how you could measure them through the CRM system, Property Pipeline. So yeah, setting goals, first step to turning the invisible into visible. Tony Robbins, it's so true. Like what you don't track, it doesn't get done. It just gets forgotten about. So very important.
So do you want me to follow on with the KPI stuff, Holly? Yeah. So,
let's get that going.
Cool. So we hopefully you've got your goals for the year, and that might be I want to source X number of properties. It might be I want to add these properties to my portfolio. It might be I want to raise this amount of angel finance, but it might even be other personal goals. I want to make money to go on a holiday somewhere, or I want to learn a new skill. But anyway, those goals should always boil down to some very specific key performance indicators that you can track daily or weekly to achieve those goals. So this little chart on the right hand side is a good one to help you kind of when you're trying to work out what you want your KPIs to be, help you kind of get reminded about what they need to fit into. So they should be very specific to your goal. So it might be a thing that I can measure, like number of calls made, number of viewings made, number of offers put in. They should be measurable as well to make sure that you can easily record them and then track them to say, I have done X of this KPI to get to my target. They should be attainable. So it's really important to not set yourself up to fail by creating unattainable KPIs. And they should obviously be relevant to your goal. So with property, it's very relevant to do things like viewings and offers and that sort of stuff. And they should be time bound as well. So those KPIs should have a time by they need to be completed. Right. So again, let's go back to the idea of offers. It may be I want to do 30 offers a month, for example, because I feel like that's going to get me to my offer accepted kind of number. So I like this comment from the founder of GoDaddy. If you're not measuring, you're just practicing. So if you're not measuring your KPIs, you might as well not be doing them anyway, because you're not measuring what you want to try and achieve. So what I'm going to jump onto next is kind of show you how we can track these KPIs within Property Pipeline. So I'm going to take those examples there, calls, viewings, offers, wins, and show you how we can really easily create these little filters that we can then refer back to say, how am I doing on my KPIs for this month or this week kind of thing. So let's start with the first sort of example I mentioned on their calls. So say I'm wanting to call a certain number of investors each week to discuss about raising angel finance for them. And that call, that doesn't necessarily have to be a phone call. You might be able to, you might sort of use that as a way of tracking, contacting somebody on LinkedIn or Facebook Messenger. But think of it as like it's a contact method. So not necessarily a phone call, it could be an email or whatever. But say you want to do that many calls or things each week to build up your angel funds kind of thing. So if we go to the call section, so if we go and record the calls against contacts, we'll see them in this big list. So I'll just jump over to a contact actually and say I'm going to call Emily Smith and she's potentially an investor that I want to talk to. And so I would create a call against Emily Smith. So I call maybe discuss about raising. Okay. So that's my call. It's scheduled for say today, whatever. And at the moment it's planned. So save that, and that's now in my Property Pipeline calendar to remind me to go and do that thing. Once I have completed that call, I'm going to mark it as held to show that that call has been held, kind of thing. So what I've done there is I've created that little record against Emily, but that means it goes into my big calls list of calls I've done. So that's great, but I want to now know how am I doing this week on my calls. So instead of trying to look at this list and order and stuff, what I can do is I can create little filters, and these filters are really powerful in Property Pipeline because we can use them pretty much all over the platform to filter stuff. So I'm interested in calls in the last 7 days. Say, for example, that's what I want to look at here. I want to be looking at my last 7 days worth of calls to make sure I'm making, say, 10 calls every 7 days. So I'm going to apply that filter. And then I'm also going to apply another filter on the status here to say any of them that are held. So you see at the moment, I've kind of got some held and some planned. I only want to see the ones that I've actually done here. So I hit apply, and now I can see in the last 7 days, I had 3 calls. Is that towards my target of, say, 10 calls that I want to be making to speak to my investors? So that's a nice little example of how you can create a KPI. And in here, the KPI, I'm going to call it, I'm going to save this KPI as well now, by the way. So click on all and save filter. Just click simply calls in last 7 days. Okay. So now I've always got that to refer back to. So in a week's time, I can come back in here and say, show me the calls in the last 7 days again. And this is my, my weekly check-in to see how did I do last week on making those calls. So hopefully
Think that's
that
so
makes,
powerful. And like, I actually quite like seeing the ones that I had planned that I didn't hold either,
yeah,
because then I kind of like can then be like, why did I not call them? Is it because I'm booking too many calls in and I can't handle it? Where is the um kind of drops in activity? What's the reason behind it? Because it's like that, having that kind of like funnel block, isn't it? That the bottleneck. What's the bottleneck? Why am I not making 20 calls to angel investors a week? What's stopping me? So it's quite good at looking at the both. But of course, if you're just kind of like doing a bit like a tick thing, like what Nick's saying, you might say, I want to do 10, you just see what's held, you've done 7, you're like, well, 7 out of 10 is not bad. Cool, let's try and get 10 next week, and so on.
yeah, nice one. So that's kind of there helping you to track those items. So let's pick another one to look at, which will be offers. So that's I think that's quite a common KPI because you often get a feel to say, I know I need to put in X number of offers to know to be likely to get an offer accepted, kind of thing. So we jump over to leads here, and then we're going to use the filter button again up here to create a filter. So I want to look at date offered, um, and then I want to look at things I've offered on in the last 7 days. So I just hit apply on that. And again, that's filtering me based on stuff that I have offered on in the last 7 days. I'll quickly show you how you can, where you should make the note about the offer in the lead in a second. But so I've created that filter with date offered last 7 days, and then I can save the filter again now if this is what I want to see. And so offers.
But again, if your target saying I want to like view 10 properties a week and offer on all 10, then again, you're going to use this filter like what Nick's sharing, clicking on it, and you could say, well, I've offered only on, again, 5, and my goal is to offer on 10. So that's what I need to be working towards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'm going with the example of 7 days there, but I can also, when I do these filters, so date offered, I've got lots of other options in this list. So I can say offered in the current month, last month, it's quite flexible. So however you want to track your KPIs, there should be like a variable in here that you can choose. It may be I want to see how many offers I've done in the last 30 days, for example. So apply that, and then that gives me my filter.
Yeah. So
Um,
not only weekly goals, monthly goals,
yeah.
and you could do daily as well if you really want, because you're breaking it down.
So when I'm in my lead, just showing you where you need to make a note of when you've offered on the property, it's simply just you put a date into the date offered field. That's all you have to do. And you should be kind of doing that anyway when you're putting your offers in to keep track of when you put the offer in. Similarly, you've got the date viewed there. So if you were tracking a KPI around number of properties viewed, as long as you put the date into there when you view it, then you've got track of that. You've got track of that as well. Yeah, so I guess the there are a couple of examples. Another one we'll look at very quickly is maybe we want to look at leads that we've won. So maybe that might be another KPI. Especially if you're sourcing, you might be expecting to be winning a large number of leads. So we can do another filter on here. We can say status of one and then apply, and that will show me all the properties I've won. So that can be my my overall number of how many deals am I winning, keeping track of that. Just on a little aside here, actually, another useful filter on here is filtering on lost sold subject to contract. So this is a great one if you think you've lost an opportunity because it was maybe been outbid or something like that. You should mark it as lost SSTC. But it's a really important list to come back to because every so often, maybe once a month, creating a reminder to go back to your list of lost, sold, subject to contract, and follow up and see what's happened to those properties. Because you know about that property, you viewed it, maybe you've got photos, so you're in a really good position to be able to keep on top of that property and following up on it. Yeah, so I think that's kind of a few examples of how we can measure our KPIs within Property Pipeline. And just going back to that, like I said, that comment around if you're not measuring it, you're just practicing. It's pointless. So yeah, KPIs are super important, I think. Is there anything else you want to add on that, Holly?
No, no, really good. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. So I guess lastly, so we got some goals, we got some KPIs that we're tracking, but how do we stay accountable to these KPIs that we're setting? So we can use the tool that we've just sort of shown you there. So you can be your own accountability buddy kind of thing, because you check in on yourself every week and say, what have I done? What have I done last week? But what we also kind of want to do with these calls is we want to be your accountability buddy as well, because I think it really helps to, if you commit to do something and you tell it to someone else, that can actually be more powerful than just committing to yourself. It's silly, isn't it? But telling somebody else what you are committing to do can help you get that shit done, kind of thing.
There is a
Um,
stat, and I can't find it for the life of me, but it's something like we are 63% more successful when we are accountable in like an accountability group or community because we're all coming together. That's why power hours and things like that work because you show up. Because sometimes it's really sad actually, and I'm the same for myself. Yeah, we got a Karen saying yay for accountability. But it's quite sad because like for me, for the gym, for example. I want to go for myself, but I end up not really going. But if I've got a personal trainer or Nick comes with me, I'm in the car and I'm gone because I'm almost doing it for him. For whatever reason, we tend to show up for others more than we show up for ourselves. But what we are doing at the same time is actually teaching ourselves some good habits by staying accountable for that person. So in a way, in a group, you're kind of there because you know there's something you want to meet someone, you don't want to let them down. And by doing so, you're not letting yourself down either, which is awesome. So well done, guys. Honestly, like I know everyone says this, but you chose to show up tonight, and that is already winning 100%. So, is there anyone that would like to share their goals, or if not their main goal, like what do you want to be doing weekly? What do you want to be accountable for? Because what we were going to do as well is we, it's a weird one. I want to push you and say you have to, but at the same time, because why else would you be here if you didn't? But we want to take your goal from you. So say, for example, Connor, you're like, I'm going to put in 10 offers by Friday, by the next call, next Tuesday. So we're going to make a note of that. And then next Tuesday, we'll say, hi, Connor. How'd you get on? Did you give it your 10 offers in? And you're there. And it's a little bit extra pressure then because in front of people, people are also hearing what you committed yourself to do and what you've actually done, and how you're going to either improve or, kind of thing, or you're just killing it, which is amazing. So that's the kind of thing. So who'd like to potentially go first? Are we up for this challenge? The again, the idea is like today's just the first one, so we're just explaining how it works. We're trying to set some goals, but the whole idea will be that if you don't need any help and you just want to kind of crack on with a bit of admin because you wanted to play catch up, you can just, like I say, mute the screen, turn us down a little bit if you want, and use that 45 minutes. And even when we go, if you're on a roll, then to then, accelerate even an extra half an hour afterwards to kind of keep up with all your tasks, all your to-dos. And we're going to cover tasks next week to help you with that as well. So that will be what we'll cover next week, tasks. And Nick, you've written
yep.
down those.
So there's the notes I've got. I'll stick them into our property
Yeah,
pipeline.
we're going to put them in Property
I'll
Pipeline.
email them out to everyone and stuff as well. So we've got our kind of our little nudges, and then we'll nudge your, we'll give you guys a little poke over the next few days as well to check your on track and stuff.
Yes,
Um,
perfect. Cool. So The calls are free, guys, because you are subscribers, but there are going to be a couple of people that will join because they're going to be curious about the system. So we are letting people join, even if they don't have the system, but just for about three accountability calls. After that, it would be the normal subscription of the 29.99 as a basic to have access to us, to have the access to the accountability, the training, and all of that kind of stuff. So I know you guys have all got systems, so it's not really relevant to you, but for those that might be watching the recording on this within the group, that would be how it's going to work. So calls free all the way up to Jan, and then onwards, if you're not already a subscriber, you'd need to be a subscriber to continue. A quick question and a raise of hands, if you will, and it will get some feedback. We have had a couple of people said, could we do lunch times? So I was just kind of putting it out there. Would you guys prefer a lunchtime or would you like the evening idea?
Yeah, evening is better because like at lunchtime, I want to call agents. Sorry.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's fair point. That's good. Yeah, Connor, I saw you like not like thinking about maybe.
Yeah, it's cool for me either way.
Yeah, either way is good for you. And
From
Karen,
me,
Yeah.
times for you is
from
good as
me, it's
well.
better the evenings for sure.
Is it? Perfect. Okay, so we'll keep with the Tuesday evenings for now. Do it every week. Like I say, they're recorded. So if you can't always catch every single one, you will still be able to have access to them and still try and use it as that time out to catch up on bits and bobs. So that's the idea of the power hour. I know it's not an hour. We could extend to an hour if we really want to, but to be honest, I quite like short and sweet. Like, let's be efficient. We don't want to keep doing we don't want to suck our souls worth of admin and stuff. We just want to make sure, are we on track? What things do I need to do this week? Or what have I done this week? What do I now need to do next week? Let's go again, and check on things. The other thing is like health check purposes, missed opportunities and keeping on track in the sense of like we might prompt you and say, who's been for a walk in the last week and you saw an opportunity? Like I actually, when I dropped the bunnies off, I've seen an opportunity right next to the bunny lady's house where if I don't put it into the system, I forget about it. And literally, I've driven there like several times in the last month and I haven't written it down. And like this time when we passed it this weekend, I'm like, I'm putting it in the system and I'm creating a task and I'm going to follow up because that is an opportunity and I don't want to miss out on it. And we've done that in the past. We have missed out on opportunities in the past because we forgot about them. We're busy people, we can't remember everything. So we'll kind of be prompting saying, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you followed up? Just little things, just sanity checking the business and making sure that you are kind of doing everything that you can do in your power to win, basically, and helping keeping you on track with it. So, does anyone have any questions or any kind of like requests on how they'd like to see the evenings go as well? Any ideas? You can always text later if you're not sure now. Have a think what might really help. But yeah, we'll keep this going. And then if we've like no one has any questions and we've done the goal setting and we've had our check-in and we've done our little tidbit shares thing and there's still time, like there's time now, what we can do is we can just kind of like not silence, but we could always put on some like very calm music in the background. Like, I don't know, Nick, you like listen to classical,
Together.
not a fan, but maybe something less, I don't know, but something that's going to help us be a bit motivated and productive or something like that. And again, if you don't like it, you turn the volume down and at 7:30, I'll be like, right, we're done, timer, well done. And if you want to keep going because you've got the buzz, you can keep going. But at least then that's how you can catch up. Because I just find that if you do presentation from just us, you won't get it done. So there will always be a bit of time at the end that we can do that with if people finish asking questions. Anything else you want to add, Nick?
No, I think if everyone's happy, I think that's good. We've got some good KPIs there, some good
Mm.
accountability things to track. They're all quite achievable. So hopefully we can all get them done and come back next week with progress and stuff. So yeah, it's positive.
Really positive. And it's a funny one, isn't it? Like you want them to be realistic because you want them to be manageable and you want to be motivated. But it depends how big your goal is because you can double it. You could go, let's go 10x and I'm going to work towards that. And then you might find that you did exactly what you needed to do or a little bit more than you thought you could do just because you went a little bit further. So play around with it as well. See, like, Connor, you're saying 20. I think that's really manageable. You might end up doing because you've got a good system in place after doing this after a while that you're doing 5 a day. That'll be way more than 20. But it will be easy because you've just plonked, I only have to do 5 calls a day or 4 calls a day, and that's already beating your goal. So think of things like that. So yeah, but let's start realistic. We want to, make sure that we hit these goals and feel excited about them. So well done for that. And thank you so much for joining us. Let's get started. Is everyone confident with the system? Like, does anyone need any help using it? Connor, you've been using it for a little while, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I'm gelling with it actually a lot more than what I thought I would at first. So yeah, it's working really well for me at the minute.
Fantastic. Karen, you're quite new to the system, aren't you? Well, both Karens are actually. So are you getting the little email trainings popping through to kind of get you familiar with it? Have you had a look?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am. It's working it. Sorry, Karen, excuse me.
it's okay. We both started talking at the same time.
We have.
You
You
go.
go
You go.
first. Well, I've been kind of sitting and watching the videos and then just tapping away at it, but it is remembering to log on to it, I've found.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
yet.
It's a new thing, definitely. And that's why I always say when you're starting out with something like this, trying to, even if it's like just first thing in the morning with your coffee or whatever your kind of thing is when you wake up. Yes, you haven't started work yet, but just turn that laptop on, log in, have a little look at your today's tasks, just have a little look and just get familiar with it. That in itself, just logging in is a good habit. And then before you know it, you're not going to miss out on tasks. You'll kind of see what's happening in the day and you'll be prepared, and then you won't need to kind of, do that anymore because it'll be a habit that you've created. So yeah. Perfect. All right, guys. Well, we've only got 5 minutes left for tonight. It was just an introduction, and we're still kind of working towards these goals. So try and focus on those. Try and do exactly what Nick said in the sense of like, for example, Connor's got 20 calls. Connor, you can book each call individually with each person as a task, in your diary, spread out so it's really manageable. So you can do that now if you want to plan the week so that you're set up, ready to win, and vice versa. Karen, you literally just need to book in a 2 hour, look at both your calendars, come off this call and go on to another call right now, book in those 2 hours, and that's you done on one task. So things like that. So really think of how you can just really go for it. All right, guys, I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nick, anything else?
No, I think if
No?
everyone's good, that's like short and sweet, and we kind of give everyone 3 minutes back.
Yeah, we finished 3
Thank
minutes.
you. It was really good.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, guys, for joining. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Yes, guys.
Bye.
See you later.